All right, I want to do a quick video. You hear about these three grasses a lot when it comes to them being dangerous, poisonous, whatever to cows. So the first one we're going to talk about is Johnson grass. That's a Johnson grass plant. The next one is sweet vernal grass. Note the very small stem, not a lot of leaf. Has a vanilla flavor, smells really good. The next one is tall fescue, or Kentucky 31 tall fescue. So these are three grasses that, if you look on the internet, you'll be afraid to turn your cows loose in the pasture, because everybody will lead you to believe that it will kill your cows. All right, now there's some validity to the issues with those, and the prussic acid, all of that. I encourage you to look up on your own, determine what you have out there. But it's kind of like the searching the internet for your health symptoms. If you have any issues, you'll think you're going to die from cancer tomorrow if you start looking it up. You can kill cows on this stuff, so you need to make sure that you know what you're dealing with. I never encourage anybody to purchase these seeds, with the exception of Kentucky 31, just because it has a great benefit of being able to stockpile. But I never encourage anyone to only use that seed. If you have other things in the mix, if they have other things to choose from, they will not eat themselves to death, literally. As you can see, there's some other things in there. I found a little bit of orchard grass earlier. There's certainly some ryegrass, perennial or annual. I really don't know what it is. I hadn't took the time to look at it. Don't really care, because I let it go to seed and it comes back. This is a field that they've already been on for about 2 days. And the patch that you see here, now this whole field's about 12 acres. And we've been out here for probably 10 days. You'll notice the dog fennel. Not a fan of dog fennel. There's some out there. Not a big deal. But the whole 12 acres looked like this. So it had the Kentucky 31 fescue, a lot of Johnson grass, probably half Johnson grass, a little bit of the sweet vernal grass, some orchard grass, not much, some ryegrass. There's some other grasses mixed in there as well, brassicas, not too many legumes, which we're working on this because we want this to be a really good pasture. So anyhow, if the cows were going to die, they would have died days ago. This is all they've had to eat. We're in Georgia, in the Piedmont region. This is what we graze. I encourage everybody to look up what they have, be familiar with it. Don't be reckless. Learn what you need to do and what you shouldn't do with all these grasses, especially the ones that can be toxic, because they can, and I'm not downplaying that. But don't scare yourself to death to the point where you're afraid to turn your cows out to graze. So we're down to this last 1/4 acre, if that. I'm about to turn them out to that, and y'all keep growing. All right, again, this is part 2 of what we were just talking about. We just turned 20 cows. There's some calves in there, but 20 head. into the same plot. Again, I don't encourage anybody to purchase these seeds necessarily. If all you have are just these specific species in your field, especially as a monoculture, you need to be very cautious of what you're doing with it and how you manage your herd with it, because there can be issues. So I want to put that out there. For what we're doing though, they have more than just this or just those three things to choose from, and so they're not going to just gorge themselves on that. Got a first calf heifer there. She's probably, I'm guessing, 72, 96 hours away from calving, something like that. We'll find out later. But what they're eating right now is that sweet vernal grass. That's pretty much all that's in there where they're at currently. Smells great. Cows like it. But they'll move around. Down in that bottom we have a lot more fescue. A little bit of ryegrass, not a lot. Out in the open area, as you might imagine, there was a lot of Johnson grass. Some Johnson grass still there, but not a lot. But the entire field out in the open is probably 50% Johnson grass, which is why I'm able to graze this, to try to control that. So I'm using the cows to control the Johnson grass. And so far it's been working pretty well. But do the research on what you have, be familiar with it, understand what the benefits are versus the risk versus gain. But don't think you have to kill everything in your pasture just to graze your cows. So by the internet and the text that you may read, what they're eating right now should have already killed them with cyanide or the prussic acid or any of those things. There's some blood clot issues, there's some blood thinning issues, internal bleeding issues, if you read what's on the internet. And there's some validity to that, again. And if that's all you give them, is just that specific variety or species, you could run into issues. But just because you have it doesn't mean it can be great forage. These are 100% grass fed, grass finished, and you can see they're pretty healthy. We're in June in the Piedmont region in Georgia. And that's what we have to graze, so we're grazing it. If the cow can't perform, she needs to go to another farm. Keep growing.